So I can come in here and take the Doritos image and we can upload and process that. And so from here, I can actually just query the database and we'll see all these different images I currently have, including the Doritos one that just popped up. And so that is displaying Doritos, humor, meme, positive, and then you can even see the image itself. Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Ball. I'm a solutions engineer here at Roboflow. I work with our customers to curate data sets, build models, and deploy those in various environments. So pretty excited today to kind of give a sneak peek under the hood on kind of what we're seeing in industry. Specifically, we'll explore how these vision language models are really like transforming brand analysis on these social platforms, UGC platforms, and moving beyond text. If we go here into an example, we'll see what users are sharing and the ability for measuring brand exposure in memes and product shots to uncover sentiment and competitive insights. So you can imagine you have a lot of images that are uploaded to these platforms, and the goal really is to make sense and insights of all these. And the reason this is happening now is the advent of powerful zero-shot multimodal models like Forens 2 and Quen and others. And unlike these older vision systems, they don't really need task specific training. And so they can extract both these like objective signals, like a logo is present or there's a product category, and also subjective ones like what is the sentiment of this post or what is the kind of context here. And really, like, this has only happened in the last couple of years. And so with the advent of VLMs, this has produced like a pretty big leap in capability, and means platforms can unlock insights from like billions of unstructured images at scale. And so now you get to a point where you really can have brand intelligence and competitive advantage and provide that for advertisers. So you can see here, structuring on the left, Doritos, positive meme humor, and then below as well, Windows, MacBook, humorous meme. So just before going into the demo itself, just talking a little bit more about kind of like what we're seeing in terms of how you could unlock that advertising value, right? One is like measuring brand exposure. So you can imagine that these VLMs, they can scan every user-generated image and tag when there's a brand logo or product present, even when there's no text. And that's the big thing, right? It's like 80% of images contain brand logos, but no text. So you really need a model to be able to surface that insight. And so things like, oh, well, how often does my brand appear in an image? And, also in terms of like how much just organic visibility is it getting? The second here is sponsorship analytics. So, brands spend heavily on sponsorships, but it can be pretty difficult to measure that return, that ROI. You can imagine like at a baseball stadium, Dunkin' Donuts or a brand is trying to understand really like how much digital buzz their brand is being produced. This would be a way where you could say like, oh, well, Dunkin' Donuts logo appeared in 30% more fan images from this sporting event than its competitors. And you can also put that in the context of what users are generating as well and the type of content. The third one here is pretty interesting, trend discovery and creative guidance. So really, I think this is super valuable because it informs advertisers what to produce. How are people posting about a brand? Is a fashion brand suddenly showing up in like skate park photos, or are users turning like product images into memes? And that can really inform how they formulate and construct their next advertising campaign and what platforms they want to cater to as well. So that's pretty interesting. And then just competitive benchmarking, understanding how all brands are performing, and finally like brand safety and sentiment management. So trying to understand any like risky flags that the company should know about, and they can kind of like respond and get ahead early of some of these PR issues. So that's kind of like crisis mode, if you will. I'll go into a demonstration now of how we can actually turn those images into insights. So you can imagine a internal tool. You have like a data team at a company and can kind of just show you one by one what this looks like in terms of turning these images into structured insights. and then querying those results as well. So what we've done under the hood here is, okay, we have like specific data fields that we want to extract, right? As you saw earlier, things like brand, the sentiment, the type, the intent. And so what I'll do here is, this is calling a Roboflow workflow with a powered by a VLM, where we've injected a certain prompt to structure those insights from the image. So you can come in here and take the Doritos image that you saw earlier, and we can upload and process that. And so now it's calling the Roboflow workflow and the VLM there. And now what we've done actually is, okay, maybe the response is valuable and you can see the VLM output. But really what we want is we want to create structured insights and be able to query against that data at scale. So now what I can do here is we've actually taken that image, we've produced a JSON, which I'll go into in a bit on how we've kind of prompt engineered the VLM for that. And then we've actually structured it for a SQL database. And so from here, I can actually just query the database, and we'll see all these different images I currently have, including the Doritos one that just popped up. And so that is displaying Doritos, humor, meme, positive, and then you can even see the image itself. With this, you can kind of see like at scale what this would look like, right? Where you have a bunch of images or video data as well that's coming in daily. You declare which models and queries you want to check in using Roboflow, using various different workflows. And then those workflows will write to a database. So then you have persistent data from those queries. And then it gets pretty interesting, right? Because then you can actually come in and, kind of get more granular of those insights, kind of like mapping earlier to like, oh, how often is my brand exposed, or what's like the overwhelming sentiment. So I'll just go in and kind of paste in some queries here so you can see what that looks like. So this one is to showing like, oh, well, what percentage of images are memes? And so here we can get a meme count. Or maybe you want to understand how often does like Apple appear in the brand exposure. And so then you can run that and see, oh, Apple appears 58% of the time. Or maybe you want to know, like on aggregate, what are the top brands? And so you could come in here and ask that way. And then on top of that, we actually could also do like natural language analysis. So some teams, maybe they just like don't want to use SQL, and also maybe they want just like a more subjective way to analyze it. So what we can also do here is use those same foundation models to ask questions and get a text response. And so I think combining the SQL output and those analytics with text and text reports is interesting. So I could be like, how often is Doritos portrayed positively? And so then it'll go and analyze the data and then return a response there. So hopefully this gives you an idea of what's possible. This is like a internal tool. So definitely like data engineering under the hood here, where you would kind of mentioned earlier, like at scale, be tagging a lot of images, and you'd be running jobs on a daily basis, enriching your images over time. And the goal there is then to surface these insights and even target specific advertisers as well. And so you can see here, we got a response on Doritos is portrayed positively in the meme data, and then even like a more in-depth analysis as well. So this is the main way to go, kind of from, all right, you have these images, how do we actually get insights from them and really get analytics that we can then make decisions based off of, and have conversations. I'll go a bit into the workflow itself now. So if you come here, we'll see the Roboflow workflow, which is powering that request every time we upload an image. And of course, at scale, it's doing that automatically. You're not manually uploading the image every time. So you can see here, we have the input. For those who aren't familiar with workflows, it's a way to build your computer vision applications. So in here, we've called some some foundation models, but we also use open source VLMs like Quen and Florence too. And so the goal is over time, as you build up that data set, you would fine tune those VLMs on Roboflow for to create those like domain adapted models. And so when you come in here, you have the ability to select a specific task and then the prompt as well. And so what I've done here is a couple things. One is I've given it kind of like explicit instructions to kind of like have it behave like a reliable analyst instead of just like the random guesser. So the key is to give it clear instructions, structure, and examples. In this case, we don't just say, hey, tell me about this post. We specify the exact fields, the allowed values, and the JSON schemas from it. So in here, I'm saying, based on the image and accompanying text, if present, otherwise infer from visual cues only. And then we're like really breaking it down by 1, identify any brands shown. Number 2, determine the overall sentiment and giving it specific fields to choose from as well. Number 3 is identify the scene, scenario, or image type. Number 4 is determine the intent of the post. Now, crucial for when you're actually writing this to a database is prompting the VLM, if any field cannot be confidently determined, return unknown. And that way we don't get these like empty fields and things like that. And then the other part is formatting it properly. We're actually telling it a specific JSON schema so that we can then extract those and write it to the database, as well as for the natural language analysis. It's more accurate for the model to read it that way. And so what's cool on workflows is you can really get a way to experiment with these different prompts, right? So maybe you have the same model, different prompts, and you can also have the same prompt but different models. And so through workflows, it's a good way to understand on a substantial data set what models and prompts to use for these specific use cases. Thanks everyone for joining. Hopefully this gave you some insights into how vision language models are really transforming brand analysis on social and user-generated content platforms.